So this dressing is a turmeric, black pepper, garlic combination. So we're gonna start off with garlic clove. First things first, you take your garlic clove, you take your knife and your side of your knife, and you're gonna just smash it. So smashing the garlic clove just saved me about a minute of chopping. And then I'm gonna come back and rock my knife back and forth on this garlic clove. Let me just get my computer. There we go. I can't really do a close-up and chop at the same time, but you get the idea. I'm chopping a garlic clove right here on my table. A good sign of fresh garlic is that it's sticky, and so it sticks to your knife, it sticks to your fingers. You don't want to use minced garlic that's in a container because who knows how old that is. And something that always stuck with me about this teacher, what he told me, is you want to be able to chew this garlic. I know it sounds crazy, but you really want to be able to chew it to create that kind of happy gut, that kind of like that saliva thing. So I'm gonna chop it pretty fine. But the cool thing about this recipe is it doesn't use salt, but it uses a little bit of tamari, and we'll talk about that in a second. So this is pretty fine. It's the fine mince, I guess you'd call it. You don't want huge chunks of garlic. Okay, so done. That's the hard part. The rest is smooth sailing. So I got a mixing bowl. Garlic goes in, and the key to kind of dulling the bite of this garlic here is to hit it with my vinegar first. So this dish, we're talking about. Let's see, this is the vinegar. Yeah, so about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and I'll get that in the garlic. If you want to squeeze a little lemon in there too, go ahead. Just need a little acid, and it's going to start breaking down the garlic. While we talk about our other ingredients, that's going to be happening. I'll also turmeric. I got about half teaspoon, a quarter teaspoon to a half teaspoon of freshly ground turmeric. Just high quality stuff. Doesn't have to be amazing, but your spices should not be old, right? So that goes in. Boom. That's going to marinate with the garlic, apple cider vinegar. Next is tamari. So tamari is soy sauce without the wheat brewed into it. It's got that salty umami flavor, and but it's gluten-free. So tamari. What did I do? A tamari, about a tablespoon. So about a tablespoon of tamari goes in there, and that's where we're at so far. Just marinating. They're all coming together. Next is a little maple syrup. So maple syrup to kind of sweeten it, balance that flavor of garlic and turmeric. Turmeric's super bitter, but when mixed with, maple and salt and garlic, it's really nicely balanced. So here we go. We're gonna do about a tablespoon of maple syrup to sweeten that up. If you don't have maple syrup, sure, agave works, whatever. But maple syrup is better for your blood levels, doesn't spike your blood sugar levels. Next is mustard. So mustard is an emulsifier, but also huge flavor. It's low in salt for how pungent it is, but the key is just the flavor. It's amazing. So nothing fancy here. You can use Dijon, you can use delicatessen, you can use Jewish mustard, German mustard, but this is like French's, like straight up French's yellow mustard. I love the flavor of this stuff. So a tablespoon of that. And what that does is not only flavor, but it's gonna bind the dressing together. Next is, what is next? Maple pepper. Oh, pepper. So yeah, I talked about pepper being the kind of like the spark that lights up the turmeric. And so we're gonna do about 10 cranks of that. That's about a quarter teaspoon. So good amount of pepper right in there. That's what we're looking at right now. So got all that going. Just a normal baker's whisk, right? I'm gonna whisk that together. Get that nice and emulsified. See that color? It's just beautiful, rich, yellow, mustardy color. And so this, let's talk about oil real quick. So this salad, you could easily at this point whisk and oil, right? Which would be the normal way to do it, right? But we are after more nutrients, cleaning the heart, and we're going to use aquafaba. So this stuff right here, this is the liquid from a can of chickpeas. So this liquid is the byproduct of cooking chickpeas. You soak chickpeas, you can cook them in water with vegetables, or you can buy the canned chickpeas, low sodium ones. And this liquid, check it out. is like the new gold, right? So this is like emulsified. It's a thick liquid. It's kind of viscous, but it's got protein in it, right? Unlike oil. Oil has, it's a refined product of an olive. So the olive's great, but to get the benefits of of olive oil, right? To get the phytonutrients, you would have to eat 50 olives, right? To get the same thing as the most refined or the most unrefined, beautiful extra virgin olive oil, that droplet. You'd have to eat about 50 or so olives, right, to get that same property. But this has protein in it and minerals and vitamins, and it's a super powerful weapon for making dressings and thickening things and emulsifying at your home or at your restaurant. So the restaurant that we're going to open in Kansas, like 3 or 4 of the dressings use this technique. So aquafaba from the can. So this is about a 1/4 cup. That goes in. Actually, excuse me, it's about 1/8 of a cup. That goes in. I whisk it together. And you can see the dressing is emulsified. It hasn't broken, which means that the mustard hasn't absorbed so much that it's going to separate. It's the mustard and the liquid from the vinegar, the lemon juice, the soy. They're all bound together. They've all kind of become one. So the most important part is to taste it and make sure you're groovy, you're working well. And yeah, it's there. It's like super strong, pungent. I'm gonna add a little more black pepper. And that's your dressing. You can use it as a dip for raw vegetables. But today we're gonna make a super simple salad with it. So there it is. It's in your bowl. It's a 1 bowl, just like a 1 pot dinner. This is a 1 bowl dinner. Here we go. So we have kale. We're revisiting kale. So one of those things, we're gonna eat it raw today. So if you're gonna eat kale every day, or you want to eat it a couple times a week, try 1 day raw, and then the next couple of days try steaming it or braising it or putting it into soup like we did last lesson. But cool little trick, that kale has a rib that runs through it. You hold the rib to the right or the left, whatever hand you are, and you take your other fingers and you just slide it right down the rib, and the rib comes off, and you're left with the kale leaf that you want to eat or cook or cut or whatever. Line up your kale leaves. So what I'm going to do is line them up like this. I'm going to twist them, roll them up, and then take my knife, protecting my fingers, take my knife and just run through. This is called a chiffonade in fancy French cooking. So I'm just running it through, cutting it into ribbons, like confetti, like strips. So got about 4 kale leaves right there. Boom, like that. That goes into the bowl. And then the next thing, romaine. Oopsie. Next thing is romaine. So this is just store-bought romaine. I've got a couple of big leaves on the outside here that have kind of been beat up and battered from travel. Take those off, save them, because that goes into your smoothie tomorrow or your drink, your wake-up juice. So save those big old boys. And then you're left with some pretty leaves. It's not the heart. The heart's a little further in, but I'm going to use all this leaf, all this green leaf. Take your romaine, split it down the middle like that, and then I'll rotate it about 180 degrees and do it again. So, and then I'll same thing. I'll just come back. I'm going to cut this a little bigger. This is more of a joy to eat versus the kale, which raw, sometimes you don't want to be chewing and chewing and chewing on those big leaves. That's why I cut it really small. This is a little bigger. That goes in. You got your romaine going in. And at this point, you can eat that. That's going to be an amazing polyphytonutrient, huge meal right there. So the nutrition and the density of the nutrients in here is all you really need. But I'm going to throw a little more in here. You could do avocado for a little fat if you need to. Once again, don't eat that every day. But I'm gonna throw about 10 pistachios in there, just for some vitamins and some good fats, some healthy fats. Also got some chickpeas from the can that I opened to use the sauce. That's going in. Let's see, I want to crunch, so I got a little piece of cucumber. Cut that just into slices. That goes in there. I've also got a yellow pepper. What do you know? There's no recipe here. It's just what was in my fridge, right? I have a snap pea here. Snap pea is kind of cool. super tasty. You want to clean off this little thread that's on here. So you hold it up and you have 2 stems. You break off one piece and you take off the little thread that kind of gets caught in your teeth as well. You can just kind of dice those up however you want. I have a little piece of a carrot. Cut those into thin pieces. Once again, I don't want to be chewing on that too much, so that carrot goes in there. And this is just common stuff that you're going to have in your fridge. This is nothing fancy. I'm going to slice some tomatoes for vitamin C. Bada bing. And we're looking pretty good. Did I forget anything? Yeah, I'm all good. So I'm going to get my plate. Boom. Turmeric stains your nails. Kind of makes you look like you have leprosy or something. So you really want to put a glove on, or use a spoon or like I said, some sort of tool to kind of toss that around. I mean, if you have no problem with yellow hands, go for it, but sometimes it's not very attractive. So here we go, tossing around. Boom, 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 boom. Get it nice and coated. It's just absorbing all that dressing we made. And it's one of those things, like, it's like so guilt-free, you know, like, because even with the highest quality olive oil, you still kind of are putting so much unnecessary fat in your body. And this way you just don't have any guilt. So that's what we're looking like. It's tossed, it's nice. I'm gonna eat another piece. The best way to taste this is with lettuce. See where you're at. It's just explosive. There's so much flavor. It's so dense and rich. Here we go. The turmeric is balanced. It's not bitter. The garlic is kind of like marinated and balanced from the acid. And then that's where you're at. You're left with a beautiful salad. This is obviously a great starter for a meal, or it's a whole meal for one. It's an appetizer for two. So have at it. I'll share the recipe with you. And yeah, I would love to hear some feedback on how it goes for everybody, because this is something that I've been doing for 10 years or more, and it's not in a cookbook. It's just one of those pass me downs. So that's it. Enjoy.